I'm not burned out. I will say, and I think it's okay to say this, that sometimes I feel overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot on the plate and we all feel overwhelmed, and that's okay.
Well, Marsha, this is such a treat to get to talk to you. Such a treat. You have been a guiding force in my life. And for the listeners, you should know that, this has been decades of admiration and love and friendship. But today I'm incredibly honored because Marsha's going to share her story and join our conversation. So we've created This Is Your Job Now, and we've invited key leaders. You're in good company. We recently interviewed one of the creative directors from Fast Company. We were lucky enough to have Obama's speechwriter, and now
I know. Yep. I've heard the podcast. Yeah. So it was a huge honor when you asked me, Wendy. Really. And it's mutual admiration, friendship, and love. So,
but today it's the Marsha Show. And today we're inviting you to talk about This Is Your Job Now and how leadership has changed. And we really do try to get a little gritty here. So the first question is, as the president of the Business Council of Westchester, and for those of you who are familiar with it, you might know it today as this huge, vibrant organization where everybody joins, but not so true when you started it.
Right.
And I want to know how you created this driving force to create something that, quite frankly, no one thought could be done.
So when I came, there wasn't time to do strategic planning to really think about what we were doing. We couldn't make payroll. We needed to bring in dollars. And fortunately, we had on our board and in our membership at that time, wonderful people who wanted to see things work. Some people resented the new way of doing things and didn't think that was the way to go. But I'd been doing this kind of work before. I'd been doing organizational development, running business organizations. I knew how to bring people together. I knew how to bring dollars in. Simple things. Like I remember saying to the person who was the assistant then, we have to get a newsletter together. And do you know that in the next second, somebody who had just started a franchise in White Plains of a local print shop walked through the door and there it was. But it was really people who came along for the ride and got excited about building something new and were willing to work hard. At the beginning, we did membership by doing telemarketing campaigns. And Jim O'Toole and his son went to Circuit City and bought telephones and installed them. We've come a long way from there, believe me. But that's how it began.
And what's interesting is listening to you, I always try to tell people, what's the takeaway from Marsha's answer, right? What goes in our tool bag? It's a very humble answer, right? Everything you said was we did, shout out to other people. So it sounds to me that one of your key successes is being a very humble leader.
I hope so. I'm proud of what's been accomplished at this organization. I'm proud of people around me. I'm proud of what I've accomplished in my life, but it cannot be about you. In my line of work, and I think in all lines of work, it's really to bring people around you and figure out what's the best part of each one of them and make it not about you because you don't know everything. To go to each one of those people who have expertise and then they're going to be motivating and encouraging. And then you do a lot of thank yous. You do a lot of recognition.
Wow. Okay.
A lot of thank yous.
So it's like humility and gratitude going in this NutriBullet now.
I guess so. Yes.
But for a minute, I'm going to ask you to not be humble. Okay?
Okay. I can do that too.
Thank you. So you recently won a huge award that we are all very proud of. Can you talk a little bit about the journey, a little bit about the award, and why you think they picked you?
So that was a one phone call that I got in my life. I was literally speechless. And Heather Mulligan, who's a CEO of the Business Council of New York State, said, I don't think I've ever heard you speechless before. But I really was, because I have been to that annual meeting, which I'm privileged to go to each year at the Sagamore. I've been on the board of the Business Council of New York State for a very long time. I love that organization. And I've seen unbelievable people get that award. And every time I would hear about senior leaders in major corporations in IBM and Corning and Con Edison and in government and organizations, I would just sit and think, these people are just unbelievable. So never in a million years did I think I would be one of those people. So the award is the Corning Award for Excellence. It's given by the Business Council of New York State in partnership with Corning Corporation, which is an amazing, an amazing corporation that makes all the glass of iPhones. Who knew that? I did receive a beautiful handcrafted bowl, which I treasure. It really epitomizes people who work on behalf of business and a positive business climate in New York State. And to be chosen for that award was very humbling. I will tell you, it was a very emotional experience because it really kind of was the capstone to my career, and I was really, really proud to be a recipient of that statewide recognition.
We were so proud of you.
Thank you, Wendy. Thank you.
So I think one of the things that people need the most help with is that there's a lot of unpleasantry today in business. It's very messy. It can be very dirty. Mm-hmm. And it can be ugly, right? Conflict. And I have watched you navigate some of the most difficult situations. So I could describe it with grace, but that doesn't really help people. Give people a real recipe of what to do when the real blank hits the fan, when there's real mess in their organization. What are some best practices for a leader? A leader should pause. A leader should not react quickly. You shouldn't go immediately down a rabbit hole. What I am good at is I know who to go to be honest with situations. So there's some vulnerability there. I don't know that I necessarily believe that things are ugly and unpleasant in business any more than they ever were. But that's life, right? There are times when you run into difficult situations that need to get fixed. And you don't always want to admit that you're screwed up or that something happened in your organization that was a mistake. I totally believe in bringing trusted people around and utilizing their expertise as my advisors, as my professional friends. By the way, your personal friends aren't always going to be the best people. And then determine what resources that you need to try to fix the situation. And maybe accept that some are unfixable. And then how you are going to move ahead with what you're doing and stay on path to what your organization is about. And then it doesn't seem so bad because you're not alone in this. Right. And that is so true. For those of you who've ever seen Marsha, she's very focused. Nobody talks when Marsha talks in the room, right?
Well, I do know how to quiet a room. It's one of my hidden talents.
So for sake of time, I'm going to share that. And I know I've told you this before privately, but I want to share with our listeners that because it's so on brand. And what I'm so excited about is for you to share the story about the many roles that you play, not just as the president of Business Counselor, but can you share us a quick view of a day in a life of the president of the Business Council?
Well, I actually did for 914 Inc. magazine. I did a day in the life.
Sure.
Which, hopefully starts out with a walk or some exercise in the morning.
Okay.
But not every day. This morning I was planning to get up and go for a walk, and I said, I think I just need to lay in bed a little bit longer. And that's okay too. We all wear many roles. I've never been kind of a domesticated person, so I can't say that I do, the cooking and this and that. But I have a home, I have a husband, I have a daughter, and my family is very important. And then, of course, in the past number of years, I've been so fortunate to have 2 grandchildren, and they're very much a part of my life. And I have a wonderful set of friends for whom I care very deeply. And sometimes some of them are going through some issues in their life, or some of them are celebrating some joyous occasions. And I really, really try to stay connected to that and stay on top of it in a very sincere way. I work a lot, and my work, I know you won't like this, Wendy, because, you're all about work-life balance, but everything kind of blends for me.
I love it.
It blends, and I'm on my iPhone way too much, sending messages or sharing articles, or, sending a heart to someone who's going through a hard time. But I really do care about the people that I'm with, and most of the people that are in my life as friends and colleagues and people I know are somehow connected to my work. Not everybody. I do have outside friends, but I will say everything is connected, and it's very important to me to have time to enjoy things, to do things. And I get yelled at all of the time by people who say, Marsha, you do too much. You're overscheduled. And I am. But I'm not someone that just enjoys sitting around and doing nothing. I get excited about, not a night at the theater, or, or a movie, or a Mets game.
A new member that
joined, meeting somebody. So that's very much a part of my life. So I love New York. I love Westchester. A lot of what I do, I talked about this when I accepted my award, that in the past month I had been to the beach on Long Island and 2 Broadway shows and a Mets game and Lake George. And so, I try to take advantage of what's happening in the community and the beauty of the community. It all comes together.
You know what I love, and in closing, I just first want to thank you.
Thank you so much.
You never use your job as an excuse, which is something I really admire. In the decades I've known you, I've never heard you once say, I'm too busy at work to remember a birthday, or I admire that. But I think the real takeaway from today is what everybody's so afraid of is leaders are burnt out, and you're not.
No.
You got another 20 years.
Well, I don't know,
But you are truly not burnt out.
I'm not burnt out. I will say, and I think it's okay to say this, that sometimes I feel overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot on the plate, and we all feel overwhelmed, and that's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay.
That's not burnt out.
Not burnt out. Definitely not burnt out.
And so I want to shout out to the fact that you can have done a job for a very long time.
Yes.
And
thank you.
Look it up and say, I got more to do.
I have more to do. There is so much. And I have such a team of great people.
Again, humility.
Work with.
There you go. Humility.
No, but also great members like Balancing Life's Issues and others that really care about community, care about helping each other, care about keeping our economy moving forward. And doing it on a very, very personal and human level. So I'm a very lucky leader.
And we were lucky to spend some time with you.
Thank you, Wendy. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to This Is Your Job Now, produced by me, Kai. If this episode made you think or made you feel, we hope it also made you realize you don't have to figure this out all alone. Leadership today is about presence, not perfection. To learn more, follow Wendy Wollner on LinkedIn, subscribe to Balancing Life's Issues on YouTube, or stream the podcast wherever you listen. Because if you're leading people, this is your job now. Anything else to add, Miles?
Yeah.